Hello, everybody. This is Daniel Spiller.
And this is Preston Willet back with you with another episode of the Flop Sports Podcast. And we'll be right back after this music.
All right, Preston Willet. The Los Angeles Lakers, since our last podcast, are still not in the playoffs. Vegas odds have it at less than 10% chance they'll make the playoffs. What say you?
I say they're right. It was so the other night, Friday night, the Lakers were playing the Bucks, which is a big game for me because I love both teams dearly, and it was tough because the Bucks were just so good and the Lakers were just so bad. But then like losing to the Suns, like these are the teams that they've lost to. Like they still have a challenging schedule, but these are the teams that they've lost to: Phoenix, New Orleans, Memphis. Like they're not even playing good team. They're not playing good teams right now. And yeah, the Hawks, if you want to go back before the All-Star break, but like just since the All-Star break, when we were saying they had to go on this big run, it was, they played Houston, had that great win, and it was like, all right, awesome. This looks like they're, kind of hitting this stride and they'll kind of ride it out and get back into the playoffs. No, after that, New Orleans lost to them, lost at Memphis. They come back and they beat New Orleans because obviously you should be beating New Orleans, especially when Anthony Davis is only playing 20 minutes a game. And then lost to Milwaukee. They played pretty well in that game, but Milwaukee is just incredible. And that was also the day they signed Pau Gasol, or reportedly signed Pau Gasol, and Eric Bledsoe got an extension that night and went off on them.
Yep.
And then they lost to Phoenix. So, like, how can you think that they have a chance at this point? Like, the Kings are playing well, the Clippers are still playing well somehow. So
all I know is if Michael Jordan were on the team, they'd have a chance.
No.
But whose fault do you think this is? Because we have, a lot of fans hating on Luke Walton for not coaching the team right and having a pretty bad defensive team this year. We have blame on LeBron for
being injured
for not really playing defense like he normally does, and for kind of blame shifting on a lot of people. Some people blaming the young kids for just not being good enough. And then now I'm starting to hear blame where I think it belongs on Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka.
To be honest, I think you could slice that up 25% each way. It's kind of a failure on all sides. And you bring up a good point with Pelinka and Magic Johnson because they basically decided to punt on this season by signing Lance Stevenson, Rondo, JaVale McGee, all these guys who, they actually looked pretty good early on. Like they looked like decent signings, like guys that could hold on through the season. But they basically punted on this season. They said, oh, we don't really care. We'll get someone next offseason, which we'll talk about this a little bit more, but they don't really look like they're in great position to get anyone next season. So they're wasting a year of prime LeBron James. Then after that, I guess you could put some blame on LeBron. I'll say it. Yes, even I will say it. I think you could put some blame on LeBron because while the injury was not his fault, but coming back and kind of his push internally to get Anthony Davis and some of the comments he makes in the media, it doesn't always work for people. This has kind of been who LeBron has been his entire career. He says stuff like this in the media. He uses the media to kind of push a narrative and maybe get some guys motivated. And then I think you kind of look at the young guys because they don't get easily motivated. And I think, one of the comments he made is like, they're kind of scared of succeeding. They're scared of getting into the playoffs. They're scared of putting in the effort to succeed because when you're just a lovable loser, it's not a lot of pressure. But the moment you try to actually start playing hard and you get into the playoffs and you're in a 7-game series with the Golden State Warriors or the Houston Rockets or whoever it may be, then, people are going to start to really realize, if this guy's got it or not. And then, of course, I think you can put some blame on Luke Walton as well. I don't think he is as big a problem as many people say. Has he been great? No, but he's been dealt a tough hand. You look early in the season, they had those suspensions after the fight with the Rockets. You look right after that, and LeBron James goes down with an injury right as they're hitting their peak. Like, you got to admit, when they played the Golden State Warriors on Christmas Day, that was the peak Lakers. Like, they looked primed and ready to be a 4 seed in the West.
Yep.
And after that, things kind of fell out. So he's been dealt a tough hand. Plus, again, Johnson and Pelinka gave him no one to play with LeBron. So I think all around, you can put blame everywhere, but I still like Luke Walton as a coach, and I think, hopefully he gets another chance somewhere else.
Yeah, it does feel like Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka's only plan was to trade for Anthony Davis. And then when that didn't work out, they had no backup. It was like, well,
I don't even know if that was their plan at the beginning of the season. I think it's just like, oh, Rich says this guy Anthony Davis might want to trade, so let's try and trade for him. And it's like, guys, y'all have no idea what you're doing. You just expect, like, everyone gave him props this offseason for getting LeBron, but like, LeBron wanted to go to LA. And I'm realizing that more and more now, that it was really just LeBron wanted to go to LA. There was no master plan that Pelinka and Magic Johnson had, because we're going to get to this offseason, and I'll tell you what, they ain't getting no one. Like, that's how I feel now. And I've been the eternal optimist thinking, oh, I think they could get Kawhi. I think they could get Kyrie. I think they could get Anthony Davis. Now that I'm at the point where, like, man, it'd be really good if we can get Boogie Cousins in here. Like, that might be our best deal.
You could overpay for Boogie Cousins.
Yeah, we'll talk more about those free agent targets, but you did put up these coaching odds here. You want to go through some of the candidates?
Yeah, listen to some of these. So Vegas is already predicting who the next coach of the Lakers will be next year. Luke Walton is on the list, and he is in 6th place right now. In front of him are Jason Kidd, Mark Jackson, Frank Vogel, Kevin McHale, and Tom Thibodeau. Some odd names on this list.
Yeah, I'm gonna run down these real quick. Jason Kidd, as a Bucks fan as well, no, absolutely not, absolutely not. Like, no, Jason Kidd was a terrible coach with the with the Milwaukee Bucks. He's not going to be a better fit.
He gets a lot of timeouts, though.
He's and he's friends with LeBron, so he has got that going for him. So absolutely not to that one, even though that's the one that's most likely of the bunch. I feel like Mark Jackson, like
once you hear him commentate, you're like, yeah, I don't know.
But it's like, everyone like praises Mark Jackson for like where the Warriors are and stuff, and it's like, but like they had hit a wall with Mark Jackson. They weren't going any further with Mark Jackson as their coach. And Steve Kerr came in there and turned them into something better. So, Mark Jackson, Frank Vogel, that's an interesting name, maybe, but I don't feel like that's a guy that LeBron's gonna want. It's just as simple as that. Kevin McHale, no. Tom Thibodeau, maybe.
No.
And way. I had completely soured on Tom Thibodeau, but maybe on a more veteran team. So maybe if they trade all these young guys away and get more veterans, then maybe I could get on board with that. I just don't believe Tom Thibodeau should be anywhere near anyone under the age of 25.
He should just be allowed to run you into the ground if you're on the decline anyway.
Yeah, if you're already in the prime of your career or post-prime, then Tom Thibodeau would be a great coach for you. But anyone young, absolutely not. Luke Walton, I still like him. I still think he's a good coach, but obviously a lot of other people don't. Phil Jackson, why is this even an option? Like, he's not coming back. And then just why, Dane? Why? LeVar Ball? Really? Really?
That's
Lonzo's
where my money's
not even going to be on the team. But how about some of these other options? They may not actually be options, but Eric Spoelstra, maybe they pry him away from Miami.
Yep.
Reunion with LeBron. Ty Lue, another guy that LeBron appreciates and likes. those are kind of two that stick out to
Let's
me.
just throw Greg Popovich in there while we're at it.
Greg Potno. He's not going to leave. I have always wondered what Popovich and LeBron would be like together. But yeah, other than that, maybe you go to the college ranks, look at a John Calipari.
Yep.
That's always been one that's been rumored that because LeBron and Calipari are best buds. How about Derek Fisher? No, I'm kidding. That's not an option.
I wish. What do you think about all right, so some of the big free agents next year are coming up next year: Kyrie Irving, Kemba Walker, DeMarcus Cousins, Chris Middleton, Klay Thompson, Jimmy Butler, Kevin Durant. Do the Lakers have a shot at anybody?
Of the bunt of the big tier of guy like that, those guys you just named.
Yep.
I think they have a better shot with Kyrie than some people give him credit for. I still think he wants to go to New York, and I think Kevin Durant also wants to go to New York, so let's slide them over there. You look at a guy like Kemba Walker, maybe, but does he really move the needle that much? I kind of feel like Kemba Walker is he's a good player and he's fun to watch, but I don't know if he's a championship, at him and you're competing for a championship kind of guy.
Right.
Boogie Cousins, I think would be great if he is on a discounted deal and you could still add another guy like a Klay Thompson if the Warriors do lowball him. I think Klay Thompson and Boogie Cousins, that would be a great team right there. Chris Middleton staying in Milwaukee. They have something so great there. They're not going to mess that up. But Jimmy Butler, that's another wild card, maybe.
I could see Butler and Kemba and DeMarcus are, I think, the ones they'd have a shot with.
Yeah, I don't feel great about any of them, and I don't even want Jimmy Butler if I'm the Lakers. If I'm on the Lakers, because the guy is just poison. But you never know. Maybe a Tobias Harris. He'd come back to LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. All right. Speaking of free agents, one guy that is now a free agent, Le'Veon Bell. The Jets are reportedly in the lead to sign Mr. Bell out of Pittsburgh. What do you think about that fit? I know we've talked about teams that might consider him, but do you think this is a good move?
Yeah, I mean, well, we did jokingly discuss that the Jets are the only team that will give him their entire rostered cap space.
This is how much cap space we have. They have $102.1 million in cap space. Take it.
Yeah, they just bring him a wheelbarrow of cap space.
The Brink trucks, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, this would be too obvious and too cliche if they do it, but
I think it is obvious and cliche, and I think it does happen. The other teams that are considered in contention are the Eagles and the Buccaneers. Obviously, Philadelphia is doing pretty well in the free agency market. As a city, they got Bryce Harper in baseball, so that's pretty good. And he sent a message out to Ben Simmons to try and bring Le'Veon Bell to the Eagles. That could help them a lot. They need someone in the running game that's a little bit more consistent. We'll see. And another target for the Jets, if Bell doesn't work out, he decides to go somewhere else, is Tevin Coleman of my Atlanta Falcons. I can tell you he's a great back, but I really don't believe he's going to be a great back. Big storylines this week, the NFL Combine. Kyler Murray, now according to a lot of league executives and sources throughout the league, he is considered the front runner for the number 1 overall pick to the Arizona Cardinals. Do you think that's the way the Cardinals should go?
Yes. Absolutely.
All right. That's all I need to know.
The Cardinals need a quarterback. I've been pulling for Larry Fitzgerald every year to just have someone who can throw the ball in a spiral more than 2 yards.
So you are not on the Josh Rosen train?
No. His name is Josh.
No,
can you name any good quarterbacks named Josh?
I'm sure there is someone.
Didn't think so.
Josh Allen with the Bills. He could be good. I'm sure there's someone. But reportedly, John Gruden is a huge fan of Kyler Murray, and he made some comments about Derek Carr, and evidently they like him. But uh, do you think it would be a wise move to trade Derek Carr and go get Kyler Murray instead?
Well, I've never seen Kyler Murray cry on the field before.
So point.
Derek
I don't
Carr.
know which point do you want that
Point
to go
to Derek Carr.
Point to Derek Carr. You got to cry on the field, man. Come on.
I don't know why they would do this. Derek Carr may not be, the next Peyton Manning or even Russell Wilson, but he's a capable quarterback.
Here's my thing about quarterbacks is like you got to have one. They got to be at least good. Like on a good year they could be a Pro Bowl level quarterback. But they don't have to be Tom Brady. They don't have to be Aaron Rodgers because, frankly, there's only one of each of those guys.
Yeah.
And obviously. But, just having someone back there that can make good decisions and lead an offense. And Derek Carr has shown he can do that. John Gruden just traded away everyone before he could actually throw to anyone. Like, he would drop back to pass, look over the middle, and have like his tight end wide open, and boom, traded off the field, and the pass is intercepted. That's why Derek Carr's numbers were so bad. So I think they should stick with him. And plus, like someone said, it would be hilarious if they traded Derek Carr and then Kyler Murray goes number 1, and John Gruden stuck there with like no one at quarterback.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And then he'd be like, this is all part of the plan to build a championship team.
Oh, yeah. All right, moving on to some other big news from the NFL Combine this weekend. The edge rushers in this class evidently are going to be ridiculous. So if you need one, this is probably going to be the draft for you to get a really good one, including Montez Sweat, Danny. I know that's a guy that you've always been passionately crazy about.
Yeah, he's my favorite edge rusher of all time.
Oh, I know it already. So he comes out of Mississippi State. He's actually been pretty highly rated on a lot of draft boards, but this weekend he definitely helped himself. He ran a 4.41 40-yard dash. That's a pretty good time, right? It's not quite as fast as you, but it's a pretty good time.
Yeah, it's okay.
So that time is actually faster than Odell Beckham Jr.
Wow.
This guy is 6'6", like 260 pounds.
Make him a cornerback.
Yeah, why not? But obviously you got some other guys in there, Nick Bosa, Quinnen Williams, more of an interior pass rusher, nose tackle type. You've got some other guys, Josh Allen out of Kentucky. There's another Josh.
Yeah, no good.
Not a quarterback, but it is a Josh. So you got some crazy athletic pass rushers in this class, and then I want to get your thoughts on this guy.
Oh no,
DK Metcalf.
What about him?
All right, so just the name first. Wide receiver out of Ole Miss, 6'3", 228 pounds. He has 1.9% body fat.
Oh, it's just like me.
Yeah, exactly. This guy looks just like you. And a 40-inch vertical and a 4.33 40-yard dash time.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, John Gruden said that a cornerback trying to tackle that guy is going to reconsider if this is the sport for him.
This is why I didn't play football.
Yeah, exactly. Even though you do have the 1.9% body fat in common. But that is it for the big three. But let's keep on rolling with the NFL. Your boy, Bobby Kraft.
They came out with a few more details. Apparently he was at said massage parlor the morning of the AFC title game and then just left,
Bobby
took
Kraft.
a plane, went to the game.
Bobby Kraft.
Yeah, I guess he could face a maximum sentence of 1 year in jail, $5,000 fine, 100 hours of community service. I think we all know it's not going to result in jail time.
No, he's not going to jail.
But yeah, the details about this are pretty harrowing. Definitely not a good place to work. But on the other hand, on the light-sided part of things, I did find the Yelp page for this massage parlor, and you can actually still read some of the reviews, which are great.
Unusual activity alert. No kidding.
Worst massage experience I've had in a while.
Oh boy. Therapist walked out of the room 4 times during my massage, then at the end demanded that I pay 20% tip.
The price is
Uh,
questionable.
yeah. Yeah, these are pretty good. Yeah, this is entertaining. So definitely go on and read that. Bobby Kraft, not a good look, my man.
Oh man.
Ravens cut ties with Mr. Crabtree, Michael Crabtree. So they'll probably be in need for another wide receiver. Anyone? Do the Patriots need Michael Crabtree?
Michael Crabtree seemed like the type of guy they bring all the way through training camp and then cut a week before the
Oh
season
yeah,
starts.
it's the guy that like everyone on like ESPN overanalyzes how his fit will work with the Patriots, and then they cut him.
Yep, exactly.
Like after like the second preseason game. The big news: Nick Foles is now officially a free agent. The Eagles said they will not be franchise tagging him, and evidently the Jaguars next week are going to try or will be signing Nick Foles next week. That's kind of been the talking, like the place where a lot of people expected him to go the whole time.
Yeah. His old offensive coordinator, John DeFilippo, used to work with Foles in Philadelphia, so I think it was a lot of people assume this is where he would go, and it appears he is. Listen to some of his stats from the last 2 years. The last 2 years, he's 9-2 as a starter, Super Bowl MVP, and last year alone.
Wait, he won a Super Bowl?
Okay.
Who did he win a Super Bowl against?
Okay, get out of here.
Bobby Kraft.
Last year alone, he defeated the 11-win Rams, the 10-win Texans, and the 12-win Bears, and went down to the wire with the Saints. So,
also a fantastic wide receiver, too.
Unfortunately, he is.
Unlike Tom Brady.
I think this makes total sense, though. This is a great fit. I think he's going to go to a team with a great defense, good weapons, a good running game, and if he can't do it, then, no one can.
If he can't do it, no one can. I see where you're going with that. No, absolutely. Like this is what the Jaguars needed. They needed a veteran quarterback who's been there. He's done that. And I think now that you plug him in there, hopefully they can get some guys for him to throw to, because like the Jaguars wide receiver situation has been like step up whoever's next last year. So Blake Bortles, for all his talent in the world, he couldn't even find the receiver to throw to.
I know, if Blake can't do it, no one can.
No, if Blake can't do it, you got a good shot that 99% of other people can do it. Golden Tate, speaking of receivers, Golden Tate possibly looking at the Patriots?
I know, Golden Tate, free agent, came out and said that he would love to play for the Patriots and would love to catch passes from, and I quote, old Tommy boy. I say bring it on. This would be fantastic.
This seems like the perfect Patriots signing. So maybe they sign Crabtree and cut him after the second preseason game, but Golden Tate's there the whole time.
Yeah.
This to me was the weirdest thing I heard all week. Jason Witten stepping out of the Monday Night Football booth and going back to the Dallas Cowboys. What in the world?
Apparently Jason Witten's been reading a lot of Twitter comments recently. Man, I can't believe it's so weird. It's so crazy. I mean, I know he was bad as a commentator and an announcer, but
yeah,
still,
no, he was not great. But he had the job.
I know. Just stick around for a while and collect your paycheck, and maybe you'll get better.
Or until they fire you. Like, I'm sure someone else would hire you after that. I don't know.
Yeah, and what a funny twist of events that Jason Witten and Tony Romo, both commentators around the same time. Romo, who's always kind of letting his team down on the field, just thriving as a commentator, and Witten just.
And Jason Witten, bombing. Mr. Dependable, is just terrible.
Yeah.
What did Steve Smith say about Mr. Witten?
Oh, Steve Smith, also a commentator, tweeted out that he will not be returning to football because he does not suck as a commentator.
My other thing is gosh, ESPN can just not keep a consistent Monday Night Football crew.
I know, but maybe they don't need one. I would be fine with them like rotating people in and out. What do you think?
I mean, Gruden's going to be back eventually.
That's
Like
true. Probably
Oakland
next
will
year.
eventually fire him, yeah. Even though he signed a 10-year contract. Texans they will franchise tag Jadeveon Clowney. Good move, bad move.
Oh, great move. I mean, he's a big pass rusher, 3-time Pro Bowl, I believe. And, I mean, he's got a cool name. Everyone still only knows him from that one tackle in college.
But yeah, he's actually been very, like, for a guy that had so much hype coming out of college, he's been very quietly productive since he made it to this level. Todd Gurley, finally figure out what in the world happened to Todd Gurley in the playoffs. Evidently, he has arthritis in the same knee he's previously had injury problems with. So I guess that explains it right there.
Yeah, not much details about how bad it is, but I would say this is pretty serious. And, arthritis is not something that heals. That's something he's going to be dealing with as long as he decides to play, and will probably only get worse. So that's not great news for either him as a person or the Rams as a franchise.
But, I mean, he says, he's like, I know there's been a lot of concern about my knee and stuff, but really, I'm fine. Are you, Todd? Because you didn't play that much in the Super Bowl, and you were an MVP candidate, and now you're just, I don't know. Antonio Brown never can stay out of the news for that long. He was on The Shop with LeBron James, went off on his quarterback Big Ben a little bit.
Yeah, and it's funny because the link to this tweet that reported it got taken down, so you can't even see the clip anymore of him roasting Big Ben.
Must have been real bad if Antonio Brown took it down, actually. And the Raiders, looking like they might stay till 2020 in Oakland, pending, obviously, Las Vegas and that stadium getting completed. So Oakland fans, you have a little bit longer before you can get rid of John Gruden. I mean, the Raiders. And Johnny Manziel, the party boy himself, dropped from the CFL. There had been talk about maybe the AAF getting involved if maybe he can clean up his act a little bit. You think he finds his way to the AAF?
I don't know. He just started his comeback in the CFL, and he's already
I feel like
go.
Isn't this his like sixth comeback by now or something like that? Like,
yeah,
every single time.
I've been rooting for him every time, and I'm always disappointed. Every time. All right, well, I think that's all we have time for. We have some more stuff here, but we don't have time for it, so we're going to have to talk about it next week. So we're going to move on to our NBA, and we'll talk about that right after this commercial break.
All right, welcome back to the Flop Sports Podcast. It's time to get into the NBA because, hey, they're actually playing games right now, unlike the NFL. It was all off-season talk. Gosh, tired of that. Let's talk about some real basketball, some real games right now. MVP, obviously, is a three-man race at this point. James Harden, Paul George, and Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Who you got? Who's your guy?
Who do you think I got? I got Giannis, of course.
Your guy? My guy's DeMar DeRozan.
Oh wow, that is it's a pick out of left field. No, Giannis it's got to be Giannis, right? Because he's led his team to not just the best record in the East, but the best record in the NBA. He's also putting up crazy efficient numbers and grabbing a ton of rebounds. Like, he's doing it all across the court, and I think he's actually one of the better defensive players that doesn't get a lot of talk for what he does on the defensive end of the court. He does it all. You look at James Harden. James Harden does one thing. He does really well, but he does one thing. Is that who you pick?
The one thing James Harden does is hunt for points when he doesn't need them anymore.
That is the exact word that should be used.
He's the Westbrook of this year.
I mean, yeah, and like, he kind of had to do that for this Rockets team because they were hapless, if he didn't do it. But at the same time, it's like Giannis traditionally the guys that are like putting up crazy scoring numbers and stuff usually come up as runner-ups in the MVP trait and the MVP award race, and the guy who has better team success usually wins. So that would spell good news for Giannis.
Yep, and this is interesting. I think from a story perspective, I would totally go with Paul George. I think it's really awesome to see him like finally coming back into his full power after the injury several years ago. But I think Giannis is like far and away. He's got insane numbers. He's so fun to watch on the court, and he's got the best team in the entire league right now. So I'm team Giannis, unfortunately.
I think all the NBA insider type people, like, you know, the basketball nerds, love James Harden, and like that's who they want.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got to be Giannis.
I agree.
Yeah, I think Paul George can get the bedtime story MVP for great inspirational stories.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Not a lot of inspirational stories there, or is there?
Is there? Well, Karl Anthony Towns recently was in a very bad car accident, came out relatively unscathed, and says that he's lucky to be alive. Not only that, but he is also single-handedly keeping the Timberwolves in the playoff race right now. In his last 44 games, he's 25 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, almost 2 blocks. Like, this guy is not Andrew Wiggins. He's the opposite of Andrew Wiggins. He's making his team better with his play.
So no petition needed for Karl Anthony Towns.
None.
No, absolutely. Because everyone in the NBA, is talking, Clippers, Lakers, Kings for that last playoff spot. And then all of a sudden I looked the other night and the Timberwolves are actually ahead of the Lakers. At one point, I don't know if they still are or not, but, in that race, and so they've kind of come out of nowhere, and that's all Cat. Like, that is him putting the team on his back, man. Put the team on my back. Yeah, so they're right. They're actually behind the Lakers at this point, and the Spurs are in the 8th seed.
Wow.
And so it's Clippers, Spurs, Kings, Lakers, 7 through 10, and then Timberwolves.
Well, looking at this, who's in the playoffs right now, does anyone here stand a chance against the Warriors? And if you're picking one team to bet your life on, which one is it?
To bet my life on against the Warriors?
Against the Warriors, yeah. So you're going to lose your life, but which one?
So I'm going to die. I'm going to die either way. But who do I want to watch play the Warriors and have maybe like them extend the series out the longest? So
get a couple extra days.
I could get 2 extra days. Wow. I would actually pick the Lakers if that's the case, because I'd rather have LeBron trying to go out there and give me 2 extra days to live than, no offense, than Cat or De'Aaron Fox or Danilo Gallinari.
All right.
But that's just me. That's just me. And I think, the Spurs would be interesting too, but I just feel like the Warriors just expose the Spurs every time they play them.
Yeah, because the Spurs are winning on execution, and your execution doesn't even matter against the Warriors.
No, exactly. You gotta have the athleticism to contend with them. Phoenix Suns, what's going on with them?
Well, they are 13-51. They're racing the Knicks to the bottom.
But they got that win over the Lakers.
They got that win. But they're looking for a new GM right now. Have they had a GM? Not had a GM this whole year?
So James Jones, who you might remember is one of LeBron's all-time favorite teammates, played with him with the Miami Heat and also briefly with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He has been their interim GM throughout the season. But Bleacher Report actually has a pretty good article out right now talking about kind of just the craziness going on inside that organization, especially at the upper management level. Definitely something to take a look at. So that kind of peers into it a little bit more. But I just really we've talked about before some of our favorite young basketball teams, and the Phoenix Suns are one of those teams that I really want to like. but like I just have no faith in like their management to get like the next step right. Like they've got a great couple guys that could be stars, and Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton. This draft, they're almost assured to get another guy that could potentially be a star, like maybe Zion. Of course, you hope to get that guy, or RJ Barrett, or John Morant from Murray State. Morant. Having trouble right now, but I just don't see someone with the vision to kind of take him to that next step. So maybe they get a GM to help with that, but I don't know.
Maybe they'll be able to get Rob Pelinka in the offseason.
Yeah, that's the direction you want to
go. Let's talk about the Bucks really quick, because Eric Bledsoe signed a 4-year, $70 million extension, which if you had asked me last year after Terry Rozier destroyed him in the playoffs, if he's going to get that extension, I'd be like, no. But he's actually had a really great year this year, probably the best year of his career.
He's been incredible. Like, no one talks about him enough, man. Like, just talk about the guy. He's good. Like, he actually probably could have been the All-Star if, like, the second All-Star for the Bucks, if people weren't, so dead set on Chris Middleton and Kyle Lowry. Like, I obviously loved that Middleton got in, but I think Bledsoe has been at times the second best player in that game against the Lakers the other night. Bledsoe won them the game. Like, it was his shooting at the end. It was him getting to the lane. And what Bledsoe provides for this team is exactly what they need. They need someone that can be aggressive at the point of attack defensively, guard other point guards, guard those Kyrie Irvings in the playoffs, guard the Kyle Lowrys in the playoffs, or Steph Curry if they get to that point. And also on the other end, he's not an easy cover, because this guy is really quick and he's really strong, really explosive getting to the hoop. And his shot has improved so much over the years, where he's actually a pretty reliable three-point shooter now. And in the Bucks system, you have to be a reliable three-point shooter to actually get out on the court, unless you're Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah. Yeah, and the advanced stats like back all of this up. The Bucks are better with him on offense and defense with him on the floor. His assist to turnover ratio was 75th out of 93 last year, and this year he's up to 26 out of 98. His win share ratio is up there with like Kyrie and Kemba. So pretty impressive. We'll see if he keeps it up in the playoffs, but at least he's good, man. So far.
They also made another move that same day and got Pau Gasol from the Spurs.
Yeah,
you like that move?
Interesting. Very interesting.
So, like, I guess he'll be like a backup center for them, because, they traded Thon Maker away and eventually got Nikola Mirotic. But, like, if he can just come on and add, a couple more minutes, not in the same way that Marc Gasol is doing for the Raptors, because obviously Marc Gasol is at a much different point in his career right now than Powell, who's kind of like very much so like on his last legs in the NBA. But if he can come on and just kind of add something different and be a really good passing big man for the Bucks off the bench, that's a whole nother threat that you got to contend with them.
Yeah, Powell is 38 years old, so this might be his last year. But he is, he's crafty. He's got that old.
He's a veteran. He's got championship experience because he beat this team that wore green at least one time. He beat them one time.
Yeah, at least once.
He beat them one time. They might have gotten him back, but that's all right. The Knicks, long lasting, have had the worst owner in sports. That's not my personal opinion. That's just facts.
Yep.
But evidently they are actually courting offers for the team in the $4 to $5. Oh wait, no, $4 to $5 billion range. Not $4 to $5. That's just I just wish someone would buy the Knicks for $4.
I know.
Get this over with. So yeah, and Bill Simmons says he doesn't make this stuff up on the podcast.
Yep, he says James Dolan is considering selling, then he's considering it. Don't question the man.
I don't want to jinx it though. That's why I don't want to talk about it. Like, I just want James Dolan to sell the team And
yeah, we'll cut this from the podcast. It's all good.
I don't want to talk about this. And then James Dolan's like, nope, not selling the team anymore. He's got to go. He's got to go.
Yeah.
But this could be pretty promising for like Kyrie and Kevin Durant, who are like, so he is leaving. So we don't have to worry about him at all.
Yeah, I think that'd be huge in them getting any free agents if they got a reputable owner.
All right, yeah. Speaking of Bill Simmons' favorite team and Daniel Spiller's favorite team, the Celtics, looking absolutely terrible. I
was waiting for that. The Celtics have not played very well. Lost a close game to the Bucks, but also got blown out by Houston. Kyrie seems to be getting more and more into his shell every game after a recent loss. I mean, after the losses recently, he's basically just one-word answers to the media. He's just over it.
Tuesday night at Golden State.
Yeah, we're gonna lose that game, but we're actually the 5 seed right now. So if the standings were to stay as is, we'd have to play Philly as the road team, and then we'd have to play the Bucks, who we'd probably lose to.
I don't know. I mean, it's we keep saying like, oh, just wait a little bit. Like, they're going to figure this out. It's the Celtics. Like, Brad Stevens is, like, one of the top coaches in the NBA. They've got all this talent out there. Like, just don't even worry. Just don't even worry about it. It's fine. And time again, they've proven that, no, it's not just going to be okay because they're the Celtics.
Yeah, it does feel like a team where there's not quite enough talent to make up for the lack of chemistry, and there's not enough chemistry to make up for the lack of talent.
Where last year, it was like they didn't have the talent with, Kyrie and Gordon Hayward being out, but they had that chemistry.
Yep.
And then this year, you're like, oh, add the talent back in, and boom, you're good. You're golden. But no, then they lost all the chemistry.
Yep.
So it's really topsy-turvy there for the Celtics.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm going to close out our NBA section with Evan Turner, who used to be on the Celtics when they were still the underdog Brad Stevens team.
When Kelly Olynyk was pulling shoulders out of people's arm sockets.
Gotta do what you gotta do. And he described the team back then as essentially a bunch of blue-collar, gritty rejects from the NBA who all had big balls of steel. Know what I'm saying? But I think there's a lot of truth to that, and we just talked about that. But yeah, I think he summed it up well. So that is the end of our NBA section, and we're going to be right back after this short commercial from Brita. All right, guys, thanks for sitting through that Brita water commercial. Thank you, Brita, for not paying us or knowing who we are. Appreciate that. All right, First up, Tim Tebow update of the week. First up,
boom.
The odds that Tim Tebow will replace Jason Witten on Monday Night Football.
Looking good. Looking good, man. He is currently at plus 3,300 odds, which is good for 9th. He's got a strong competition. Peyton Manning, Louis Riddick of ESPN's NFL Live, Greg Olsen, former Panthers tight end, Kurt Warner, Matt Hasselbeck, Boomer Esiason, Randy Moss, always yelling Steve Young, and Tim Tebow.
And
also John Madden.
Let's not forget Broncos safety Ray Crockett tweeted out, "I'm available if you like announcers that will bring humor, knowledge, and style." He laid the gauntlet down. I don't know who it is, but get him on there.
Who is that?
He's got style. He's got knowledge.
ESPN's like, you know what? We could get Peyton Manning, who's universally loved and everyone likes him, and is a very smart guy. Or we could get this guy Ray Crockett, who's fashionable.
Yeah, I'm with it. Ray Crockett.
You don't see any problem with that. All right.
No, way better than Manning.
Oh yeah. Rooting for you though, Tim Tebow. Rooting for you.
The other Tim Tebow update, his feature film, which we've been promoting nonstop for absolutely
run the race,
free,
man. Run the race.
has debuted with 2.2 million at the box office.
Oh crap! I didn't know it came out.
Incredible! You can go see it in a theater near you.
Maybe it may not be there.
Potentially.
All right, Elon update.
Yeah, Elon closed out their season, the regular season, with a big win at Towson, finishing 11-20 on the season.
Go Phoenix.
Next up is the CAA tournament, where we will most likely lose in the first round. But Steven Santa Ana had 34 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists in this win.
And of course, this podcast will be live streaming from the CAA tournament. No, I'm kidding.
Rex of the week. If you haven't seen the Finding Giannis documentary, it's on YouTube.
Where is he?
It's 20 minutes. Go watch it.
Where is he?
Where'd he go?
Where is Giannis? How did we lose such a large man? Instagram update of the week. We had a couple items up for auction. Tom Brady, his rookie card was up for sale and went for over $400K at auction. Danny, how are you enjoying your new Brady rookie card?
I had to max out my credit cards, but totally worth it for these rookie cards sitting in front of me right now.
Never been opened. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar put up his 4 title rings and also a couple other things. You got a little bit more on this one?
Yeah, well, this was cool because he's donating all of it to youth education, to charity. And basically, let me find the good quote here. He said, when it comes to choosing between storing a championship ring, a trophy in a room, or providing kids with an opportunity to change their lives, the choice is pretty simple. Sell it all. That's pretty cool.
Sell. All right, and then back to your city, or I guess staying in your city. Doc Rivers gave Dirk Nowitzki a big shout out the other night, taking the microphone away and telling everyone to clap for him. Great honor for a great player in Dirk Nowitzki. And great act by Doc Rivers. And then finally, staying in LA, Snoop Dogg, Snoop, goes on the most NSFW, not safe for work rant you can ever believe, with saying he's done with the Lakers after that Phoenix Suns loss.
So of course we'll provide you a link to that.
Yeah, of course. And so not safe for work. And also, evidently his box seat at the Staples Center is up for sale for like $5, or $12 or something. So you can go take his Snoop Dogg's box seat if you want it to watch a bad basketball team.
He said he'd give it away for $5. So
was it $5?
Yeah, so I'm in.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I couldn't remember exactly how much it was, but I knew it was a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Not as good as a deal as James Dolan has for the Knicks right now with that $4, but so you could either buy the New York Knicks for $4 or go sit in Snoop Dogg's box at Staples Center with the Lakers. That's a tough choice. It's a tough choice. Do you splash the extra dollar and get the box seat, or do you save some money and buy the New York Knicks?
Yeah, it's really a tough call.
All right. Well, we have reached that time in the show, everybody, where we stop talking after 60 seconds.
That's right. You have to wait 60 more seconds for that. All right. This act out is going to be Jason Witten telling ESPN that he's going back to play more football.
Okay. Let's do some role play here. Would you like to be Jason Witten or the ESPN executives?
I'll be the ESPN executives.
Okay. I'll be Jason Witten. All
right. Starting the timer now. Hi, Jason. What you doing in my office?
Guys, I come with some really, really bad news. I have decided to hang up my broadcasting jacket and head back to the Dallas Cowboys. They really need me. They really need an old, decrepit tight end who was on his last legs when he left and is probably still not going to be able to play that well when he comes back. I'm sorry to tell you all this.
Oh my gosh, this is great. I gotta call Peyton Manning right. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we're sorry to see you go, Jason.
Look, I don't want you to cry. Don't cry in front of me. Like, you can shed your tears when I leave. I know I've been probably the best that y'all have ever had, but I gotta leave. I gotta hang it up. I gotta retire.
Peyton, yeah, we'll give you whatever you want. 30 mil a year, done.
All right, that's it for the Flop Sports Podcast. Another episode in the books. This one coming to you a little bit later, but still great. Late but great. That's our motto here at the Flop Sports Podcast. Late but great. Late but great. All right, that's it for this week. We'll see y'all next week.
All right, bye guys.